Hey folks, thanks for watching my channel today. Today's subject is going to be how do you flip and pitch from a seated position? Now I've had a few folks watch my videos and I've talked about flipping and pitching. It happens to be one of my more favorite ways of fishing, one of the methods that I enjoy the most. I really enjoy casting, but my shoulder goes out after a short period of time, and casting is really not an option for me, at least for more than 20 minutes. But flipping and pitching is pretty easy. To be able to stand there and just pitch that bait out or really flip it, I should say, because most of what I'm doing is flipping. But and the difference is almost not worth mentioning, but to me, when you're flipping, you're pulling a little bit of line out and you're just flipping the bait anywhere from 5 to 10 feet away from the boat. Uh, Pitching, on the other hand, is really an underhand cast. You're allowing the bait to pull against the reel, and the reel is in free spool, so it's just taking line off in the same way that it would if you casted it. Pitching's a little harder to do for some people. At least it's harder to do without getting a backlash. But I do both. Sometimes without even realizing it, I'll switch from flipping to pitching and pitching back to flipping again. A lot of it depends on where I want the bait to go. If I really want to go back in a little deeper into the vegetation or into the reeds, then I'll usually pitch. If I'm interested in working kind of the outside edges of the cover, then I'm usually flipping. But when you sit down, it makes it a whole lot harder to do either. Now, before I go into, any difference in the way you might approach it, let me just point out to you that I pitch and flip with a bait casting reel. I have tried to do it numerous times with a spinning reel, and I just can't do it. And the reason I can't, and maybe some of you have experienced the same problem, the line always catches on my reel handle. A spinning rod or spinning reel, I should say, has your reel handle coming out, and it sticks out just far enough that when you pull off some line and you bring the rod back to flip and you let go of that line, it almost always catches on the reel handle. And that can be a real pain. I've tried a lot of different ways. I've tried to make sure that the reel handle's in a certain position. I've tried to hold the rod a certain way, but invariably, I end up with the line getting caught on the reel handle. And so I don't recommend to anybody that they try to flip or pitch with a spinning reel. Now, pitching is probably a little easier because the line is coming right off the spool. You're not pulling line out. And so therefore, when you let go of it, it's not apt to catch on the reel. So your ability to pitch with a spinning reel is probably far better than flipping. But either way, I'm just not comfortable doing that. I'd much prefer using a bait casting reel, and that's what I've done for years and years. Uh, but as it pertains to someone who cannot stand, I'm fortunate because I'm able to lean up against a butt seat. And although I can't pitch and flip for as long a period as I used to be able to, I'm still good for a couple of hours without, losing my balance. But for those of you that are not in that position any longer, where you just can't stand for any length of time, even if you have a butt seat to lean up against, and you're forced to sit in the boat, then my recommendation is that you forget about pitching and you just strictly concentrate on flipping. And what I mean by this is, even though you're in a seated position, if you simply start with your bait hanging down, let's say 5 or 6 feet, and you pull out another 3 feet, if you just move the rod back towards you and then flip it forwards, letting go at the line at the same time, you can be just as effective as if you were standing. Now, it's pretty hard to do that and pitch, because pitching requires that you have enough force to have the line come off your reel. And I've found, at least in my experience, sitting, it's harder to do that. It's harder to create that force. But to flip, it's not that hard. And again, if you're flipping a short distance, which most flips are, 5 to 10 feet, you shouldn't have any problem if you already have 5 or 6 feet out and you're adding that, 3 or 4 feet that you've been able to pull out from the rod. So give it a try. You might be surprised. I think that sometimes we overcomplicate things. A lot of my friends just don't have the ability. I have a cat. I say the cat just won't leave me alone. This is actually the fourth time I've tried to make this video. And the cat keeps coming in and walking in front of it, sticking her rear end right in my face. I've had to stop and start over quite a few times. So her name's Lily. So I think she thinks I'm talking to her, and I think that's where the problem comes in. But my wife's not home right now. She's out looking, going to garage sales and flea markets. So, when she's not here, the cat thinks that she has to spend time with me. So anyway, I don't know if you really got anything out of this video or not. I'm not real excited about the day that I have to sit and I can't stand. I'm sure that day is coming. I've had a number of problems this past year with balance. I've fallen a few times, and I'm sure the day is coming where I'm only going to be able to sit in my boat as opposed to stand. And I'm sure when that time comes, I'm going to probably perfect a system that works for me, whether it's flipping or pitching, and I'm pretty sure it's going to involve a bait casting reel. So be that as it may, I hope that shed some light on the subject. And a couple of you have asked me that question, and that's probably the best answer I can give you. So if you have any thoughts, if you watch this video and maybe you've spent the last couple of years pitching or flipping from a seated position, maybe you have some better suggestions for anyone that watches this video. If you do, please leave your comments down below. And if you would, like my channel and subscribe. Trying to build this channel, and there's a lot of topics that I want to talk about in the future. This is just one of them. So thanks again for tuning in, and I wish you a great day.